Howdy guys, we're back again with Michael Jackson.
Hey.
Our next garage review is going to be on actually my first all grain beer that I made is a spiced ale that we got. Cheers.
Salute. So here's a spiced ale, and I'm not a real big fan of additive type beers like this, but this will be interesting to see what all we get.
Christmas was just last week.
'Tis the season to be merry.
We actually named this one Santa's Spiced Ale.
You're as healthy as a horse. Yeah. Clydesdale.
It's very fresh, so the spice is going to be really light.
I'm tasting chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tasting.
Keep going.
The hops are interesting in it. It's like I gotta admit, this is really, really good because it's got enough structure to it that it's not like drinking a candy cane. And I don't want to drink a candy cane. I want to drink
Talking about
a
the super
beer.
crazy complex.
Yeah. There's a lot going on in here. It's like a mashup almost.
I think the hops in this beer really accentuate the malt and the additives I put in. So this is.
What are the additives?
So this is fresh ginger that I grated myself, cinnamon and juniper berries.
All right.
But like with any spiced ale, if Mike was to try this 2 weeks from now, it would, he would get a lot more of a spice hit because that's just how they work. So
I'm interested to see how my cedar fever and the juniper berries get along. It should be interesting.
But yeah, you're right. This has got some chocolate malt in there. I think it's like 350 Lovabond. So hence the color. The Lovabond adds up kind of to your final measurement for color and darkness. So
it's a pretty beer. It's a real pretty beer.
But we had a lot of fun. This was my first all grain recipe that I've ever done.
What?
I'm putting in 20 pounds of grain instead of 5. And what that allows for is a much more robust flavor, I think. It requires a lot more work. We're going to show that in a video coming up soon, actually, on all grain brewing. But I think it makes the beer taste better. It still turned out really good. I'm proud of it. And we're going to keep, making kick-ass beers.
Well, there's the recipe to success if I ever heard it. Just make it kick-ass. Well, this is fun. And this is the kind of thing that homebrewers get to do that others don't because, let's face it, if this had been a bomb and hadn't worked, who cares? Next, you drink it and move on. It's all got alcohol in it, and that's the redeeming grace of all of it. But this is a very good beer, nice, chocolatey, very smooth, a lot of mouthfeel to it. Definitely, you get the ginger on your palate.
So when I brewed this beer is actually supposed to be about a 7% alcohol beer. And when I was doing my all grain, I over sparged it, so I added a little too much water.
What does sparge mean?
So sparging is it's a fancy word for dilution. And so you obviously you're brewing a pretty concentrated product with a lot of sugar in it, and you want to dilute it. Otherwise, your yeast won't be able to convert your sugars into alcohols past really 10%. They just can't do it. The alcohol, it gets them too drunk and they quit working. So
know how that goes.
Yeah, I over sparged this one, so it's gonna also be at the party on the 13th. So I'm a little happier having a 4% beer on tap versus a 7.
This is on the Mikey meter, but this is
specialty
in a specialty beer category. You know where I'm going with it. It's a 7. That's a pretty solid rating. It's only going to get better. The flavor's only going to develop in it. It definitely has a shelf life to it, and it's definitely
Yeah, this was brewed
This
2
time
weeks
of
ago,
year.
actually. So
yeah.
it needs really another 2 weeks to be a finished beer. But
We might get a chance to come back to it on a later video.
Yep.
You never know what's under the brew kettle right now. So,
I'm gonna actually be brewing a stout, an Imperial Cossack stout that was imported by Catherine the Great of Russia in the 1600s for her Imperial Guard.
There you
I'm gonna
go.
be- I'm gonna be
Catherine the
brewing
Great's
one.
garter, she snuggled that in, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's gonna be a recipe I came up with all myself. This beer we actually use nugget hops in, so we'll have that stout. We're probably gonna let it sit a couple weeks before we let Mike try it because that's how stout should be.
Yep.
So we got the new hats in.
How much are the hats?
The hats are $25 a piece,
You can't beat
But-
a $25
but-
hat.
but with every purchase of merch, you get tickets that you can come back and redeem for beer at a later time. So you can't really lose with that. It's free beer. It's free beer.
You can, yeah, you join. What about the glassware?
Yeah, the glassware, we got these Libby pints here. They got Happenstance on one side and the H mark on the other. They're really cool. They're not your normal pint glass. We don't believe in buying subpar
It's not your normal
material.
beer.
Yeah, it's not your normal beer. It doesn't belong in a normal glass. So that's how we're gonna run it. But till next time, guys, be safe out there, and we appreciate you all watching. See you
Thanks.
later.